Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Jade Gemini. This evening I'm super excited to bring a review of this right here. This is the Owala SmoothSip Slider, 20 ounce. And today what I'm going to be doing is talking about what I like, what I love, what I dislike, and if it applies, what is rubbish about this cup right here. Before we go ahead and jump into that though, let's get some size comparisons out of the way of some very common mugs. So the first one that we're going to go mugs, drink apparatuses, the whole 9 yards. Sorry. So the first one we're going to go ahead and jump out of the way. I think that is just about everybody has had one of these, either the name brand or something in its size. Is the OG classic beloved 30-ounce hydro flask or 32-ounce, sorry, hydro flask. So as you can see, butt to butt, the hydro flask is a little bit taller when it comes to the actual lid being on. However, if you are to take the lid off, you can actually see that these come in kind of similar in size, which is something we'll talk about, but yeah, just something to get out of the way. The next thing we're going to talk about is an all-time favorite of mine, one of the absolute top tops of my sort of collecting journey of insulated cups and mugs, the OG 30-ounce Yeti. So as you can see here, they're almost dead even from the bottom to the top, although the Yeti is definitely quite a bit thicker here than the slimmer Owala is. The next thing I'm going to show you is probably the closest comparison I can think of that challenges this, and that is the Yeti coffee tumbler or just tumbler cup. This guy right here. So this is really where we're getting in the trenches here and comparing the two probably biggest contenders here with the Yeti as well as the Owala. So as you can see, the Yeti is quite a bit shorter than the Owala at the top. And here is the diameter of the two as well. So as you can see, it's really nearest, makes no difference. There's not one that's drastically bigger around than the other. So yeah, that's basically that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing that I like about this is, well, the color, right? Awala's really been getting in on these fun and festive and flavorful and all different types of thing colors, and this is no different. This is their marshmallow white, and I have it on this sort of bronze desert tan top. Really gives a kind of cool, rugged, fresh look and has this sort of black seal. So when you actually look at their website here, you can tell that with the SmoothSip Slider here, you get all sorts of fun little colors that are all sort of correlated here. This one's got kind of a brown top, a lime green with the printed Owala that's also lime green. This one's really nice like this with the red here and this sort of cream top. This one as well, mustard yellow, just all black, the white. You get the idea here. So really kind of fun what they do. They mix up with the colors. They make it something that is interesting. Now, that could be something that is a drawback if you want something that is a little bit more straightforward, but that's kind of a Wallace thing, and it's something that I definitely like. So that's the first thing to go ahead and like. The next thing I like, kind of in that ethos of colors, is design, right? So I like Yeti because Yeti seems to be a little bit more masculine to my eye, a little bit more brutalist, right? Down to business, tough, right? Bracing steel down here and steel up here, and this slight contour down and straight edges, right? And same sort of thing with this mug here, which is actually my wife's that I had engraved for her with a dragon since she loves dragons and fantasy. But yeah, basically, again, sort of very stout, your sort of stout handle, right? Of course, I love the Tumbler 30-ounce that I've reviewed on the channel as well, with the handle as well. Again, that sort of brutalist idea here. So essentially with this is a little bit more easy on the eye, a little bit more attractive, right? You have this sort of design here that just sort of slightly curves, but then it gets squared at the bottom. An interesting and fun design choice. It just sort of plays with the light. You can see it's lighter over here, dark over here as you twist it, move it around. It's just not the standard sort of round block cup, which is one reason why I like this. I don't really like this design and never really been drawn to it because, again, it's just a sort of bland block cup. While this is a little bit more fun. Same thing sort of comes in with the playfulness of the design here, just the way everything kind of ties in. Again, it's simple, but it works, right? Everything from the pop of colors to the seal being actually used for colors to the overall design. I just really like that. The other thing that I do like about this is the overall quality, the fit and finish of it, right? Some cups you can just feel, and they just feel a little bit less than, but this feels to have a really nice, smooth, even coating over the whole entire body. Nothing that seems to be sort of chippy and flaky or anything like that. Just really nice, kind of, again, soft touch, you would almost say, a little bit mild texture. Um, I feel like these Yeti are super uber durable, but a little bit more slick, while this feels a little bit more, again, textured that makes it feel a little bit more soft. To that point as well, everything aligns really well. The lid isn't like shifted off to one side where it catches on one end or another. And even when you go to lock this down on every single one I was touching in the store, to kind of figure out what color I want, all of them aligned perfectly with the side, which for me is kind of a thing. Some people might not mind to have it sort of kind of at a cockeyed angle or anything, but to me, I like it to always align with like an emblem or a side or something like that. To me, it shows a little bit more thought and a little bit more care in your product than just lackadaisical, you know, have it where sometimes it's to the side, sometimes it's here. It doesn't add up or line up, right? So something else as well. The other thing that is a big win to go ahead and like here as well is this is cup holder friendly. That's something I would actually probably say, kind of just jumping right in to what I love actually. The first thing to love is that this is a cup holder, friendly cup mug, right? So really going to be easy to go ahead and throw in. You don't have to worry about it like rolling around, falling on the floorboard. You're breaking hard. Oh, you're coming to grab it out of the floorboard. The kids are screaming in the back. You're rushing to work, rushing to get the kids to school. Doesn't matter. Boop in the cup holder, universal size, shape, not going to really matter. Not like you're just barely fitting it in there. It's easily going to get the cup holder. So a big win. The other thing that I do love as well, which is really, really big for me, is that this is easy to clean. When it comes to your sort of Yeti, for example, and again, I'm a Yeti purist. I love the brand, so I'm not down talking or anything like that. But honestly, they're just so hard to get off, to get that rubber off. You're gonna stick a knife down in there, butter knife. You're prying it. You're marring up here on the plastic. It's just not a fun experience. And of course, you don't want that coffee and whatever else, milk based things. If you're having a lot of coffee in here or different drinks, to be getting up onto there and getting it nasty, just not a good thing, right? But yeah, see, I can't even use the trick that I use on this one that I use on some other ones. So I digress. Hard to clean in that way. Easy on the inside, but not so much on this. And other sort of complex things can be a little bit harder, like this, right? These sort of flip tops and things like that. You really can't get in there and clean. I mean, you can kind of pull that out in the straw, but then how do you get that? Yeah, just not, no. But with this, super duper easy to clean. So what you do is you push forward with your finger on this textured pad, just like that. And then once you do that, you grab it with your finger and you pull up. Just comes right off, has these little clips that clips down into it. Super easy. You can see in here. You take the lid off, you flip over, and now that this is popped up, this has a little tiny space that it can't accidentally come loose. But with this out of here, the tolerance has changed. So now you just push this forward with your finger a little more. This allows you to rotate to either side. And as you rotate it, the wings change until it falls down into the slot, easily comes out. Now you have built in, molded, married together this plastic piece that actually holds in the rubber piece and rubber O-ring that keeps it from coming out of the top or keeps it coming out from the sip lid as well. And then finally, easiest of all, you just take your finger and really easily peel this off. Just so easy, takes no frustration, no effort at all. And you can throw it down in the cup, put hot water, wash it all around, slosh it all around. And it's just as easy to assemble everything as well. So, I mean, just absolutely perfect in the design. No need for any sort of fancy tricks or any sort of extra tools, no prying, no fussing, fighting, whatever. It's super duper easy to do, to get down pat, to understand. Yeah, what's there not to like? So, definite big thumbs up there. On to that sort of idea of what we're talking about there is the fact that this is completely water resist or waterproof, as they say, leak proof. Sorry. So used with watches not saying waterproof, they're water resistant because just in case. But for nearest makes no difference. This is leak proof, right? Period. So with something like this, right? Even something like this mag slide, which is kind of their big technology. If you are holding it just a little bit, you can see water's already starting to pull up and again drip on my hand pretty quickly, right? But with this, voila, with the smooth sip here, I'm gonna fill it up some, get a good amount of water in there, and I'm gonna sit the lid on here, torque it down. And now that I got everything all cinched good, it is not going anywhere. It's not doing anything, even with applied force, right? There's nothing coming out of this, right? So you could fill this up to the brim and toss it in the bottom of a backpack next to your laptop or your gaming device or tablet or whatever have you, other electronics, batteries, cords. You get the picture. You're not going to have to worry about the spilling. Again, same sort of thing in the car. You have to brake hard. You have to turn. You don't have to worry about, this little gap here or something like this rolling onto the floor and then accidentally leaking. Everything's going to be good to go. Really good there. On to that as well, though I like the actuation of this smooth slider. You just push forward, pull back. It has a very similar feeling to mag slide when you push forward, pull back. There's a little bit more resistance because there is an O-ring in there, but you easily get used to it. You push down with your force, you push forward at the same time, in the middle on Owala, and then you just pull back. Doesn't really come loose. You don't have to really worry about anything. As long as you're not pushing at the very tip here, you just kind of push in there, easy peasy. The next thing that is big is I love this sipping experience, right? This to me is like the sort of if you're into anything else outside of these, like Spyderco, which is pocket knives, or HK, which is with some poo-poos, right? Basically, they're always known for their ergonomics, making things for the human hand to perfectly fit and mold everything. I say that because this is the pinnacle of ergonomic for your mouth, right? So you've got this cutout here that your lip, if you can imagine, goes here and then wraps around really soft, really nice. Now again, I'm not necessarily complaining that it's the end of the world with this and this round here and this round here. I mean, it works, but it is kind of like hard if that like hit your teeth or your mouth, right? Again, it's sort of just function first and sort of the human ergonomics a little later, right? With this, though, it is maximized to the human mouth, right? Which makes sense. You're going to be interacting with this, you're going to be putting your mouth on this like this, your lip under here, and then your top lip just sort of wraps like this. So if you notice, it is shaped here like a human mouth opening, right? And so your mouth just goes perfectly over this. I'm going into this much detail because it is that comfortable that I've noticed. And again, Hydro Flask, other Owalas, Yetis, 100 different ones, Simply Moderns, and so many. And this is like, wow, this is the best drinking experience. And then the cool thing is that you can, when you're using this, you can either pour it, if you want to pour it into like a hot cup of coffee and use it as a thermos, you can easily do that. And it pours out so easy once you do open it. So it's not like it's like restricted and you're really fighting to get it out. Or if you do put your mouth on there and actually drink it, you can sip it kind of like a straw, and the suction will suck out very quickly, right? But no straw needed. So just absolutely amazing for like, yeah, it's designed pretty and you can clean it. It fits in a cup holder, but it's not fun to drink from, right? Which on the Simply, what was it, the Brewmate, I critique that when you drink out of it, it's actually uncomfortable and unfun. So it's nice to like actually enjoy the reason this exists, which is to get in your body liquids and hydrate you as a human, right? Just brilliant. Who would have thought ergonomics are important? Thanks, Spyderco. But anyways, Awala's just nailed that, and I absolutely love it. The other thing, again, easy to clean, like we were saying. The other thing is the insulating performance is really good on this, right? Awala's just seem to be a little bit lighter. They're not as like dense and right? But they just really do a good job at being good insulators, right? So I had the same ice from this morning after like three iced coffees that I made. Still had ice in it, and it was just the ice sitting there for like 3 hours, and it was like ding 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 in the bottom, right? Wasn't melting anything like that. So it definitely is some really high end insulation performance as well. So all things to love there, indeed. Now, reviewing so many of these, there is some things that I would say with this that I do dislike, right? Although this is great and this is at the top of a lot of different categories, there's some things to keep in mind. The first thing is the smallest nitpick. That is the fact that like you can't align the walla towards yourself with the sip. It's either on this side or on this side. Again, I'm saying the smallest nitpick. The other thing I do kind of like about it is it's like constant brand. I'm drinking from my Owala. Oh, what brand is that? Owala. So maybe they did that on purpose. Who knows? So it's on the outside of your hand. So again, it's just sort of you gotta kind of have a laugh at it. It's that anal retentive, but just something that I thought of. Maybe nobody else will realize that. The next thing, of course, is a little bit more, and that's just the size of this is something that I just noticed. Again, you've got this, which is the big 30 ounce, and it's actually slightly shorter at its highest point than this is at its highest point. Now, again, smaller as well, but again, it being small in every single way makes a lot of sense. And this just being 20, it's not like 22 or 24, it's a 20 ounce. And then you come over here and compare this to a 20 ounce, right? There is a big difference, right? Let me, in all fairness, put the top one here so we can really get a fair shot. But yeah, in all fairness, there is like a whole entire inch shorter. So something to keep in mind, definitely. But it is lightweight, so that's pretty nice, right? You're not once it's full, it's not going to be too much to carry or lug around. The other thing as well that I would say I dislike is a weird kind of thing with the insulation. Although it does insulate good, it shows its temperature. So with some like the Yeti, right? The experiences that I've had with them, ice cold in there, and you don't touch anything, except maybe at the very, very rim, and you can tell that it's cold or hot, right? With this though, you put ice in it, you get it cold, and down here it's okay, but then right around up here and above, your hand is cold, right? Um, And again, do I think that means it's a lack in performance? Not necessarily. I don't think that that's the case. However, I do think that it's something that I like noticed and was like, it's kind of strange that you feel the the actual temperature of it on the outside, right? Kind of just want to have it the room temperature and then pick it up and drink it and it's cold. So something that I, in all fairness, did notice and wanted to make sure I did shout out. Um, the only other thing that I would say, and this is just a personal preference for me that I don't love, is the fact that this has this sort of soft, rounded edge bottom that you'll find with other Owalas, that you'll find with Hydro Flask, and I just don't love that because even though it's common, this is like really easy to dent. I've like dropped these on carpet and they dented, right? I really like this sort of reinforced steel, lip. I've like dropped these off of cars before and then landed on the side and it just sort of like been like a chip in the actual metal and being in the metal instead of like a big dent in the side of the soft material, which is why I do like Yetis. Like you can see right there, that was dropped, you know, easy, like barely, noticeable. With this though, if you were to drop it here on the corner, you'll have a big old dent, and then it will wobble back and forth on the table, and it's all weird. Where this one really doesn't do that too much. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. It kind of would break away from the overall design and aesthetic and things like that. And it's just personal preference, but the last sort of thing to maybe think about with longevity. The other thing is just overall. I mean, just kind of wrapping up. There's nothing that's rubbish about this at all. So just kind of coming in here, you got a great design. You have maximum ergonomics for the human experience, everything from the button, right, to the way that it actually interacts with your mouth when you're actually sipping it. It's great. Again, it's stylish, lots of fun colors. Um, again, easy to clean, goes in the cup holder, pretty lightweight, great performance. Um, yeah, and I mean, the probably the thing to love the most is the price, right? There's a lot of these that are coming in at $35 and $38 and things like that that are quite expensive sometimes, and it's 28 bucks. Like anybody can just say, hey, I'm just not going to buy a Starbucks for the week, two or three Starbucks or whatever, or coffees out, Dunkin's, whatever, and you're going to be able to pay for this. Also, there is just that versatility since it is 20, so you could put ice water in here and still hydrate yourself. You could also, again, make iced coffee, or you can make two full size coffees and have coffee for the whole entire day instead of having to go and get a refill. So, just a lot of good versatility in this size as well. So, overall, I just think this is absolutely, it's kind of the apex predator of this style of cup. Definitely knocking out the Yeti, which I think is an all favorite. And with the mag slide, they did a lot. But again, just with the leaking and the non-locking lid, and it being a little harder to clean, I feel like this is definitely in that next generation, and a lot of like engineering and forethought went into this cup, and I just think it is just the bee's knees, and I'm super excited to have it. And I think if you looked at this and said that's kind of interesting and weird and new, you should buy one because it's awesome just from the drinking experience alone. But everything else falls into place as well. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm not gonna waste your time anymore. This review of the Smooth Sip Slider. If you did, please go ahead and give a like as well as subscribe, as it does help the channel. Of course, I love fellowshipping with you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments section, as I love, like I said, seeing you guys talk to each other and communicating with you guys as well. Most importantly, I appreciate you taking time to watch my little channel over here, as there's so many amazing content creators you could be watching, and you've listened to me ramble over here. So, of course, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Take care and stay safe. Peace.